fantasy about Korea to balance it. I'm not saying don't come to Korea. I'm not saying life is terrible in Korea. I'm just sharing my experience for you to have a balanced view about life in Korea. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Adoma Onwokeme, and today I think this is the most vulnerable I've ever been on the internet. I hope I'm able to shoot this video. Okay, so today I want to talk about my experience living in South Korea, and I'm going to be brutal truth about life in South Korea. Now, I'm going to be sharing from my experience and the experience of friends and loved ones around me. This may not be your experience, but this is my experience, right? I maybe so as I go with the video, I may seem like I'm not coherent or I'm just here and here, but I'm going to try to organize my thoughts and just share this video, and I hope you follow along with me. So Korea is a great place, right? It's a great place, really is an awesome place. But someone even asked me, like, how is life in Korea? When people ask me how is life in Korea, I always tell them that Korea is bittersweet. Yeah. And as I explain, you'll probably get why I say that. So Korea is a great place. I've lived there for 6 years. Yeah, 6 years. That will be in September, October. Yeah. But I still don't feel like I'm home. I feel like I'm just hanging. And I've realized that I thought I was the only one until I started speaking to people and I realized that the feeling is mutual. Maybe people feel like they're hanging, like they're not home yet. Yeah, and that's how I feel living in Korea. Like simple things of like being able to walk into a shop and just ask and not think about, oh my God, how am I going to say this? I hope I don't sound, like a typical foreigner, because in Korea, there's a way you talk to the elderly ones. You have to be, there's a way, how you in Yoruba, you use the air and o, so you have to be careful, like, we're Gugin Saram, because it's a Gugin, it's a foreigner, so you don't have to think of how will I explain what I want, or you now you go back to your Korean grammar and begin to think of what's the word this, what's the word that, and, we overlooked that, being able. My husband said the other time, like, he told me he went to, he traveled for a conference in the US, and, walking to the store and just talking to people, it felt liberating. It felt like I'm home, that kind of a thing. So, yeah, so going to a store and just talking without thinking of what you're going to say is really, we overlook it. We really overlook it. This is my experience, and it may not be for everyone, but I feel like there's no growth in Korea. So I'm going to use the case study of most of the people I have around me. Some of the people around me are students, people who study for, maybe they are undergraduate and masters and PhD and the rest of it. So recently I found someone who she studied she's been in Korea for 13 years. Yeah. And they're like, oh, you have the permanent resident visa. She's like, no, she doesn't have it. I'm like, why? She's like, well, though she's been in Korea for 13 years, she's taken the KEEP exam. She's done everything. She can speak Korean fluently. But because her wage is not up to the GNI, there's a cap Korea has put, I think, I'm not sure now for this year. Maybe it's 36 million or 40 million. So maybe she should be earning like 3-point-something million per month or 4, thereabout. So her salary was not up to that. She was not even able to get the resident visa, there's a resident visa which is renewable every 2 years or 1 year. She wasn't able to even get that. Don't talk of getting the permanent resident visa. And I was thinking to myself, if this lady was in a country like, let's say, Canada, having studied here from undergraduate level to master's and working, for 13 years, she might not be a citizen. Yeah, because she's already in the system. They're not going to say, oh, you don't have the money. Or she was even in Australia or New Zealand. So I feel like, I think I've jumped the point. But anyway, there's no growth in Korea, right? That's it. Now let me explain what I mean by there's no growth in Korea. So I look at people who have studied here, who studied here, and they rise up in maybe in the academic in their department, they're not promoted. They're not promoted. They're just in that same level. They'll be in that level for a long time. And I see that it's different for expats, for people who come in as expats. They're able to progress in their career ladder. But it's not for all expats. There's someone who her husband works in the university. I think this is peculiar to the university system. Because my husband also works in the university system. So I think this thing is peculiar in the university system. He's a foreigner in the university system. And for how long is it? I think 4 or 5 years. He's not been promoted. Yeah. So I think maybe it's the university system, or not all university system. I'm not sure now, but anyway, all I'm saying that the case is case by case. But for most foreigners, I find like there's no growth for them in their career progression when they start from this study here and they get a job here. But when they come in as experts, into the industries, I feel like there's more career fulfillment, career progression for them. Now back to what I was saying. The third thing I think one of the realities of living in Korea is that it's hard to integrate. So I was explaining the other time about the lady who been here for 13 years and couldn't get even just the F2 visa, which is just a resident visa, not the F5, which is a permanent resident visa. And it made me it bothered me a lot. Like, so what's the future of people here? You'll be here, just live here and there's no end in sight. You see? The integration is so hard. So I get a lot of people want to come to Korea, and people send me a lot of message. And one person in particular said she wanted to do medicine in Korea, and I was taken aback. I'm like, what? You want to do medicine in Korea? And I'm like, did you make your research? Did you find? Okay, let's look at even the K-dramas. Have you seen any any foreign doctor? I've never. Please, if you have seen a foreign doctor before, not a doctor not an American doctor or a Korean American doctor. I mean, a doctor who is purely a foreigner and who is from the African descent. If you have seen, please let me know. I've never seen. So, my husband also went to the Netherlands and to the US for conference. He's gone to different people for conferences, and he's seen people who look like him, even in the airport, welcoming him. People who look like him in the hotels, But I've never seen such. Even the taxi drivers, I've never seen a foreigner ride a taxi. I've never. Please, if you have seen, let me know. So this is the harsh reality about life in Korea. It's so close that it's almost difficult for you as a foreigner to penetrate. Yeah, almost difficult for you to penetrate. Korea is romanticized a lot with the K-pop and the K-drama and all of the tour that they're doing and everything, but you don't see the dark side to Korea. There's a dark side to Korea. There is really a dark side to Korea. Something happened to someone I know. I think last year or 2 years ago, he had done a transaction with someone. Like, there's this thing called, what's it called? A carrot, where you set up a hand thing, and the person duped him. He reported the case to the police, right? And the way the police handled it was so bad. And we were just saying that if the case was reversed, if he duped a Korean, it would have been a very terrible. I mean, who knows, his face would have been in the newspapers or the blogs would have carried it. But the way they handled the case, they just dismissed it. Really, that's the dark side. I mean, everyone, yes, it's Korea, but this person, obviously, you saw there was the CCTV captured it. But they didn't push forward with the case. They just let it go like that. And the guy felt so bad. He felt so bad that his voice didn't matter. His predicament didn't matter. And that's reality about life in Korea sometimes. As a foreigner, your voice really do not matter. Yeah, and that's the truth. Whatever you're going through doesn't really matter. Because you have a Gugin. We're Gugin Saram. Yeah, and I like that some movies now try to paint this real picture. So I don't know if you watch the Sky Castle. If you haven't watched it, please do. Sky Castle and Glory. You see that's the picture of some things that happen in the Korean society. Yeah. So why am I sharing this? I'm sharing my experiences for people who have this romantic fantasy about Korea to balance it. I'm not saying don't come to Korea. I'm not saying life is terrible in Korea. I'm just sharing my experience for you to have a balanced view about life in Korea as life is in other places. It's just that sometimes the Koreans media or Korean way culture always paint themselves as good, as beautiful, and so charming, so alluring. Is that the word now? So beautiful that you don't know that the wrap has some stones in it until you begin to bite and begin to chew it. Yeah. So I'm just sharing with you my experience. Yeah. Another one of the realities about Korea is that you have to look out for yourself. No one really cares about you. So someone could be really like bullying you even in the train station, or just making life very difficult for you, and no one will care. But back home in Nigeria, if you're doing something wrong to someone could like leave her alone, or don't do that to her. But yeah, everyone minds their business. Yeah, but I was really surprised the other day. Someone fell down, and people gathered to really carry to help her and called 911. It really touched me, like wow, because I've seen where someone fell in the train and everyone parted way for her, and this woman fell. Yeah. So for me to experience that, like okay, the culture is that they are becoming more welcoming. They're becoming more what's the word now, I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, they're now trying to help people and stand up for people. But in most cases, like you're on your own, everyone minds the business. If you're in trouble, you're in trouble by yourself. Yeah. I really don't know what happened, but most times I find it difficult to access my bank apps. So I'm a Nigerian, so I have my bank, the Guaranteed Trust Bank. Yeah, that's the one. That's major bank I use. I use UBA, but I don't have the app. But the Guaranteed Trust Bank, in short, the app sometimes doesn't work. We have to go to Opera menu. You cannot even use Google to access the app because it tells you something block block block, and then to bypass, even with the Opera menu, you have to use a VPN to access your GT app. So I don't know. There's this. It's so restrictive. There are many things you cannot access. It's blocked in Korea. You cannot access them, and I really don't know why. I don't. Maybe it's what is this, cyber security? But I mean, these are financial apps. We're not. This is our own app, but we cannot access them except we use VPN, and it really makes life really very difficult. Really, it makes it very difficult. The other day my brother was saying, I think we're trying to send money. They're like, oh, download the Revolut app, blah blah blah, and I download the Revolut app. Lo and behold, does not function in Korea. So there are lots of apps that will benefit the life of people, but they're not available in Korea, and for reasons I don't know. I really don't know. Even PayPal is not really available for foreigners in Korea. Yeah. So what I mean is that it's available. You can use the app, but you cannot authenticate with your bank account except you have a business bank account. You see that? Yeah. So I don't know. So it's just like I feel like Korea is close to the rest of the world. Another thing is, I when I came to Korea, like as you all know, if you watch my other videos, I'm on a dependent spouse visa. So it means that I'm supposed to depend on my husband. And for those who are on dependent spouse visa, you're not allowed to work legally. So I went to open a bank account, and we told that, oh no, because I was a spousal visa, I couldn't open a bank account. For God's sake, I felt like opening a bank account is like a basic human right. Honestly, so I shared my frustration with some other people, like even her too. So, some people like, yeah, even me too. I wasn't able to open a bank account. I'm like, why? Like, because yeah, she was in the spousal visa too, and so other people to said it. But the other people in other cities, other cities who have been able to open their own bank account. So I just feel like maybe it is city by city, or I don't know, or the kind of visa your spouse has. Like, I really don't know, because I can't explain it. So it blows my mind. Like, bank account is something that is basic. Yeah, I looked into it even for people who have work visa in the US and their spouse are dependent. They're able to have a bank account, I think. Yeah. They're able to open a bank account, but I don't know why. Here it's because I find that yeah, the Korean system kind of sometimes follows the American system. Yeah. So I'm like, why? I really don't still know why. They just said, oh, because you're not supposed to earn money, you're not supposed to have a bank account. I mean, but can I get money from friends, families? Can I? But anyway, I'm happy with my international banks. I have banks in other currencies, and thanks to Payona. Yeah, Payona is not for sponsoring this video, but anyway, I'm just saying for those who are in this situation like myself, you can open a bank account with Payona and do whatever you want to do, but yeah, and connect it back to your home, your home your home bank account. Yeah. Recently, I found out that you could teach English legally in Japan, and it was mind blowing. The other time, someone is a Nigerian, so she lives in Thailand, and she was teaching. She teaches English. I'm like, what? What? Korea. And I made a bit of research, and I realized that you could teach English as a Nigerian in Vietnam, in Japan, in Thailand, even in China. It was surprising for me. Legally, like legally. In Korea, you're not legally allowed to teach English as a Nigerian, except maybe you have certain visa, like the resident visa, or like yeah, or you're a spouse of a Korean. But to get the English teaching visa is impossible. I wonder why. Nigerians are not allowed to teach English in Korea. And the only African country that allowed to teach English in Korea in South Africa. And we used to joke and be like, it's because in South Africa they have light-skinned people. I mean, in Ghana they speak English. In Kenya they speak English. I mean, in Nigeria we speak English. Why? Why only South Africa? So that's the conclusion we came to. Like, yeah, because these guys, they have lighter skin. I feel a bit lighter. Saying like I hope I'm able to post this video because yeah, I just shared my heart out here. So it's really hard, living in Korea and just navigating through the system, and people really don't know the struggle you have. You really don't know the struggle you have. Okay, so this is just me being vulnerable and sharing with you about my life, and I hope you learned something from the video. Okay, don't forget to like this video and consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Till I come your way next time, keep living intentional. Bye for now.